Hey digital makers, Christina here from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. Thank you for joining us this week for Digital Making at Home. This week's theme is Out at Sea, so we are going to be doing the boat race project. So let's jump right in. You can get to the project by using this short link, rpf.io/dm-boat. So this is a Scratch project, and you just need a computer to do this project. What we'll be doing is we'll be following along the steps here, and I'll guide you through how to make this really cool racing game. So see this game here, it's controlled, the boat moves with my mouse. And what you try to do is your times, you'll see the timer in the top or the bottom right corner, and if the boat hits the wall, you have to start over. So we're gonna make this game. We're gonna have this sprite here, we're gonna make this obstacle here. So let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the starter project, which is rpf.io boat-race-starter-on. So this is, the starter project is great because it has backdrops in it already and some of the sprites, so you can just jump right into coding. So what you can do is, if you want to save your project, make sure that you're logged in, and you're going to want to click Remix to save this project as your own. With Scratch, we use blocks for coding. And what we'll do is we're going to grab blocks and we'll drag them over into this space here. And then when we run our program, which when we put together those blocks, it'll happen here in this stage area. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to control the boat. So we saw in the example that the boat is controlled by the mouse. So let's start pulling in some blocks. What I like to do is I like to pull in all the blocks first. So I know that I want the game to start when I click the green flag. And I want the boat to point towards my mouse. So I'm going to grab that blue block for motion. I'm also going to have the move block. I'm also going to get two more blocks. I'm going to get the go to location block, so go to X and Y points, and then I'm going to get the point in direction block. I know it's here, I'm just missing it. There it is. Okay, then I also need a forever loop. So what I want to do is I want to have this start where when I click the green flag, I want to reset the game. So I want my boat to go here, which is this location. It tells me right here is -190, -150. So those are my X and Y points because this is a grid. This is a coordinate plane. So that location, so I'm going to have my boat go to that location. So I already got those points there, which is awesome. And then I'm going to have the boat point, I want the boat to point in straight up, which is 0 degrees. So let's go ahead and set that. Great. So that works. Then we're going to have our forever loop. And I'm going to have it where the boat, I'm going to have the boat move one step because 10 steps is a lot. I'm going to move one step towards my mouse. Okay, awesome. Oh, did you see that? So you see right there when I have my mouse on top of the boat, kind of goes a little wacky. So we're going to fix that actually right now by adding in another set of code. So go ahead, we're going to get an if block. We're going to get an operator. Get this operator here. We're going to get a sensing, which is going to be distance. So what we're going to do now, so that isn't going to happen, we're going to set this up so that if our mouse pointer is, or it'll only follow our mouse pointer if we're a certain distance away. So we'll have it be that if the distance from the mouse pointer, we'll say 5. What that is we're going to have it be like it's pixels. So if the distance is 5, oops, we want to keep those together. This is 5 pixels away. We're going to have it point towards, so I'm going to add in this if block right here. So it sets these conditions that this is only going to work if this is happening. So if it's close, nothing should happen. So let's try it. So if I start here, okay, good, that fixed it. So nothing happens, it doesn't move. But if I'm more than 5 pixels away, yeah, the boat starts to follow the mouse pointer. Great. So, and that's a really good example of sometimes like when you're writing out code, like you might have to add in something like the code doesn't necessarily work fully. Like we had the idea that the boat would follow the mouse pointer, but there was still kind of this issue. So we had to add an additional code to make it smooth. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in a crashing element. So first thing we need to do is we need to make add an additional costume. So I'm going to go to the boat. I'm going to go to this tab here for costumes. Right now we have one costume. So I'm going to make another costume for our crashed boat. So I'm going to duplicate this by right-clicking on the boat and duplicating. I'm going to call this one hit. So this is the boat if it's hit. And I'm just going to edit this a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the selection tool. And I'm just going to highlight some pieces of the boat. And what it does is then it allows me to sort of to pull those pieces. So I'm going to do that a couple times. So I'm going to make this boat look pretty broken. So it looks like it's crashed. Oh yeah, that really. Okay. So now you'll see it here reflected on the stage. It looks like a pretty sad boat. Okay. So now that we have that second costume, we can set it up that these are basically docks. So if you've ever been near the water, you'll see that there's docks, like folks might walk out onto these to get to their boats. Or you might walk out of these to like to go fishing. So a boat does not want to crash into this. So we are going to write some code now. Let's go ahead and pull in another if block. Let's get another sensing block. So we're going to get a touching color. And then we're going to pull in, and I always, like I said earlier, I like to pull in all my blocks first and then put them together. Kind of like if you organize a puzzle, you want to get the similar pieces together. So we're going to switch the costume. We're going to have it actually say something too, because it's never fun. And have our boat react. Okay. So let's start here. So if the boat is touching this color, so we want to make this color that brown color. And so you can do that by clicking here using this pointer. So a little drop, the color drop, and matching it with your brown. And so now we've got that color. And if it touches that color, we want to switch our costume to the hit costume. Remember, there's two. There's the normal boat, there's the hit boat. And then we don't want it to say hello, we want it to say no for 2 seconds. Let's go ahead and add that in here inside our forever loop. Let's run it. We'll just go ahead and crash. That worked. Okay, great. So now we want it to do something else. Oh no. See, it's still broken. So let's go ahead and have it. It switches to the costume. It says no. And we'll go ahead. We can automatically set it up so that the game is reset. So to do that, we know that this is the code up here that was used. This is the main location. So we can use those same blocks. So we can have the boat go to those same location. We can have it point direction. And then we also want to switch back to the other costume. So we're going to go back to looks. Okay. No, not backdrop. Let me see. Switch costume. Okay. So we're going to have it, if it touches the brown, it's going to switch to hit. It's going to say no. Then we're going to have it go back to the starting point, which is -190, -150. Then we're going to have it point in the direction 0 degree 0. It's pointing forward again. Then we're also going to have it switch back to the original. So here we go. So no. Oh no, that didn't work. Let's see. Oh, that's because, okay, I still have it on the hit costume, so we want it to go back to normal. Here we go. So here we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, now it's stuck. Okay, there we go. So it's moving, crashes, says no, 2 seconds, and then goes back. Okay, and just restarts the game. Awesome. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we've done crashing. So let's actually do winning. Let's set up our game. So when we look at this game, to win this game, we want to get the boat through this sort of maze to the beach area. So we have it here where if the boat touches brown, something happens. So in this case, if the boat touches that color. So feel free to pause and try and code this on your own. See if you can think, I'll give you, it's very similar blocks that are here. So if you want to pause, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And then if you want to pause, you can pause and then like come back and see what blocks I used. So the blocks are, we're going to use if then, we're going to use a sensing block, so we're going to do colors again. And then we'll have the winning, we'll have a excitement. Okay. So if the boat touches this color here, we want to express excitement. Woohoo! We put that here. Now, for the sake of testing, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this down. Because remember, when we click the green flag, our boat moves to the beginning location. But just for testing, since we are creating the game, we are the game makers, I'm gonna move the boat over here so I can test it. See, now it didn't go to the beginning because I moved that blue code. So now let's see if it works here. All right, woohoo! It does work. So because I moved this code here, it's not going back to the initial starting point. So we know our code is working, so I can return this back here. Okay, so now we've got, we look back at our notes. We control the boat, crashing, winning. Ooh, you can add some sound effects. Definitely check this out. I'm not going to do that because it's tough sometimes to do the sound effects like via video. And there's just so many options. It's hard to choose. So feel free to check out some sound effects. Let's go ahead. We're going to add a timer. So we're going to add in a variable. So to do that, we're going to go down here to variables. We're going to make a variable called timer. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to have the timer. So we see we've got the timer here. So I'm actually going to put the timer down here because that's where we're trying to get to, right? It's where our boat is moving. And we're going to have it, the timer. Let's go ahead. We want to have the timer interact with the green flag. So we're going to do green flag. And then we'll pull in, we're going to set the timer to 0. We're going to have it change. Let's pull in all these blocks. And let's go ahead and grab a forever loop and a wait block. Okay, so when the green flag is clicked, we want to reset the time. So we're going to set the timer to 0. And then we're going to have a forever loop that is going to wait. This is creating our timer. So wait 1/10 of a second and then set, and then change the timer by 1/10 of a second. So let's run and see. Okay, great. Our timer is running. You see that over there in the bottom right. That's great. And so this is fun because then you can now have other people play your game and see who can be the fastest on the game. All right, so now we're going to add in some boosters and some obstacles. And I moved myself over a little bit because I want you to be able to see, I'm going to be interacting with the sprites in the backdrop area. So I want you to be able to see that. So first thing, let's add in some boosters. So we're going to click on the stage to highlight that area and look at the backdrops. There's actually a second backdrop in here, another bonus of the starter project, that has some white arrows that we can use. You can also add in some if you want, or you can like make your own because our game's kind of easy right now. So we want to add in some stuff. So I'm just going to use these as they are. And what I'm going to do is add in some code. Have you ever played a game like Mario Kart where a character can go over a booster that'll cause it to move faster? So I'm going to add in some code to my boat, similar to the code here. So I'm going to add in another if block and another sensing block. So if it's touching color, we want to get that one. And then we want to get a motion block. So I'm going to have it is with my boat is if my boat is touching the white arrows. So I'm going to match up the color there. Then I'm going to have it move 5 steps. And it says 3 in the project directions, but I want it to be a little bit faster. So let's see. Okay. So here we go. All right, nice. It boosts. It moves. Awesome. So we've just added in the booster. And one thing I just noticed that I forgot to add previously is right here is when we have it, if it's touching the beach area, we say woohoo, but we also need to end the game. So we want to add in one more block. I'm going to go ahead and add it in there. It's in the control blocks. We're going to add in a stop all here. Yeah, because we want the game to stop and we want the timer to stop. So to check, so you can check your time and compare it with your friends. Now let's go ahead. We're going to add in an obstacle. So to do that, the obstacle we're going to add is, you may remember from the beginning, when we were doing the intro game, there was a moving like dock that was spinning around. So we're going to add in one. So you're going to go to choose sprite. We're just going to hover. You don't want to click on it. We're going to hover, and then we're going to go to paint. We're going to make a sprite. So this is also, think about all the possible things you could make. You could make a shark. You could add in a sea monster. So we're just going to add in a dock. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a shape here. And great, this is looking good. I don't want any outline. And I want the color to be the same color as this brown color here. And so I don't think the color droplet works. Yeah, I can't carry it over to here. So what you do is just remember the color, and I already remember the color. It is 9 is the color. So we can adjust here. The saturation was 100 and the brightness was 40. And I'll show you how I know that in a second. So yeah, I'm gonna do that color. Wait, that should be my color. I don't know why it's not filling in. There we go. Okay, so it's a little big. So I'm gonna move it so it's center. You wanna make sure it's center here. Saw that mark right there? That's where you wanna make sure it's centered. And then I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. Okay, and then I'm gonna center it. Because that's the center point from if you're gonna have it spin, it's gonna be spinning from that point there. And then I'm gonna move this over a little bit. I'm gonna make it a little bit thinner too. There we go. Okay, great. So now we've got that piece there. And how I knew that color, I'll go back to the code on the boat. I knew the color there because if you click here, you see 9, 140. So that's how I knew what the color was for that sprite. So now let's add in some code for this sprite here. The code we're going to add is going to have it spin. So to do that, and it's really simple, we're just going to add in 3 blocks. So I encourage you to try and think of like, what are 3 blocks that could help make this dock spin? I want it to spin the whole time the game is running. So I'm going to grab a green flag block. I'm going to do a forever loop. And then I'm going to get a motion block and get spin. Have it turn. So I'm just going to have it turn 1 degree so it starts off slow, but you can change it, right? And let's put these all together. Let's see. All right, that looks really good. Let's see if we can make it a little bit faster. It'd be kind of cool. Let's see. See, that's very fast. So I'm just going to stick with 1 degree. Okay, so now we have created our game. We have obstacles. We have boosters. We've got a timer so you can track progress and see how fast you can get to the end of your game. So let's go back here to the boat race game. So there's definitely some challenge suggestions. You can add more obstacles. Oh, you could add green slime. That's a cool idea. You could add moving obstacles. Oh, yeah, a shark. You could turn it into a race between 2 players. So maybe you can even add in another boat. You could also add in more levels with different backdrops. So after you maybe get to the beach, there's a new backdrop shows up. So those are some really cool ideas. So I definitely encourage you to check those out. And once you finish your game, share it with us. We'd love to see what you created. You can go to rpf.io/home and click on Share Your Project. We always love to see what you're creating with code. I can't wait to see what you make. Bye!